to another edition of Just My Opinion podcast. How y'all living? I'm living swell. Well, breaking news, even more breaking news surrounding the Deshaun Watson situation. Now, if you've been living under a rock, I'll allow your boy to explain. When Deshaun Watson was a member of the Houston Texans, he had several complaints of sexual misconduct with a lot of female masseuses. And at that particular time, news was going back and forth about these incidents. And I remember doing a video on a live stream, and I talked about, Deshaun Watson should have just simply settled with that particular lawyer and those particular accusers, no matter if it's true or false, no matter if he's innocent or if he's guilty. You kind of want that blemish off of your out of your line, out of your sight, particularly at that particular time. Deshaun Watson was trying to negotiate his way out of the Houston Texans. And in my humble opinion, it really tarnished his brand. And not a lot of teams wanted to give up their future picks for Deshaun Watson because of the swirling controversy on whether or not the sexual misconduct between his massages or masseuses, however y'all want to define that. And I remember saying that he should have just settled, because if you look at the court of public opinion, a lot of people assume that he did something spooky and fishy with those females. And no matter if he would have had his day in court and it was proven without a shadow of a doubt that he was innocent, people would still, particularly in public opinion, would have just assumed that he did something. So, and at that particular time, a lot of the sponsors were falling back, who had negotiating deals with Deshaun Watson. A lot of them were falling back just on the few accusations. And then it multiplied into 8. And then after 8, I thought it was a foregone conclusion that this was going to be long in the court of in court. I think Rusty Harmon and his legal team was going to have a long time proving this without a shadow of a doubt. And at that particular time, with the 8 accusers, the NFL said, and Roger Goodell said, that they investigated, but they were not going to rule until, the courts ruled whether or not he did it or not. And in criminal court, he was presumed innocent on most of these accusations, but it has not went to civil court. And I feel like he's really going to lose in civil court. And that was at the time with 8 victims at that particular, or 8 accusers. Let's just call them 8 accusers, because we don't want to assume that they were victims, and we don't want to assume Deshaun Watson guilty straight out the box, no matter how the evidence is presented. And that was with 8. And I remember I was telling everyone in live streams and in numerous videos, he should have just settled out of court, no matter if he's innocent or guilty. It's just that stain, that stench associated with your name was making your professional life a living hell. You wanted to get out. You wanted to be traded away from the Houston Texans. You have already lost a good chunk of your sponsors, and you had a few left. So salvage the few that you had left, settle out of court and be done with this and put this behind you. and go into like hire a PR firm and maybe make a campaign proving that you are a good dude and you presume yourself innocent. And I feel like the court of public opinion was never going to allow him to overturn those accusations. But then I started thinking, at that particular time, when it was just only 8, I said to myself, why is he fighting this? And I feel like the reason why he's fighting it, not only to uphold his good name, but I felt like the main reason, and I'm not saying it's the only reason why he was fighting it, because if he would have settled out of court, the process, the proceedings of him being getting traded away from the Texans would have been prolonged. Here we are in year 2, and he finally got his wish, and he's a member of the Cleveland Browns. Now comes word this thing has multiplied beyond 8. It went up to 24. And I did a video talking about that and covering about there are 24 accusers saying that Deshaun Watson had sexual misconduct in their sessions, or asking for sex in their sessions. And this is very damaging. 24 of them. Rusty Harmon was going to have a hard time when they had their day when they have their day in civil court to prove without a shadow of a doubt that all of these witnesses, all of these accusers are coordinating their efforts into defaming and shaming Deshaun Watson. And that was with 24. Now comes word, just when you think that this was over with, we know with a shadow of a doubt there are 24 accusers accusing Deshaun Watson of sexual misconduct. I don't want to say anything heavier than sexual misconduct, because other than what we have heard in the news and the numerous interviews Deshaun Watson has made, as well as some of these accusers has made, still we really don't have the bulk of the evidence until they have their day in court, which is civil court. After civil court, that's when the real evidence is handed to us, unless there's some leak evidence in these proceedings. But now comes word that there's another woman that is accusing Deshaun Watson of sexual misconduct. And there's even more stories coming out that Deshaun Watson has wanted sexual favors from other women on social media, Instagram. Instagram. The reason why I call Instagram, it satisfies the thirst of some of you thirsty corn dogs out there. And now Deshaun Watson's starting to look like a corn dog out there. Now comes word that there are influencers, if you want to call them influencers, Instagram models, are coming forward to say that Deshaun Watson has been hitting them up on their DMs and asking sexual favors. There have been an encounter with one of these Instagram models, and he's even asking them to give him a massage. And then after the massage, they have sexual. He's asking for sexual, a sexual favor, a happy ending. Rusty Harmon a couple of days ago, and this is the true definition of slippage of the tongue, where he's saying that if you're in on the massage table, and after the lady is done with massaging you down, there's no crime if you ask that lady for a happy ending. And I'm not going to get too graphic on a happy ending. I guess you guys, if you don't know what a happy ending is, you should do your research. Google is your friend. Rusty Harmon said that, and that really, if anybody had any support for Rusty Harmon as far as getting Deshaun Watson out of this mess, or had any faith that Deshaun Watson is totally innocent, what Rusty Harmon said in that interview just did not go favorable for Deshaun Watson. And this latest woman, Rusty Harmon, also said that he was not aware of this newest accuser. He had no knowledge of this accuser. Didn't go into full detail. And folks, it's not what people tell you, it's what they're not telling you. Why would Rusty Harmon would go all the way in on, well, I had no knowledge of this accuser. If you're paying someone to be your legal representative, you're not going to pay someone to just throw out in the atmosphere that you have no knowledge of this accuser. You at least want someone that you're paying to be your legal representative, that, hey, we heard about this latest accuser, or we're going to investigate it. We're going to do our due diligence. We're going to add her, and hopefully we'll get to interview her. And we're going to have our day in court, folks. Be very supportive. All of these latest accusations and news stories in a 24 to 48 hour time frame is very damaging for Deshaun Watson. So much so, the Browns are trembling in their boots, folks. The same Browns organization that first wanted to go feed in with Baker Mayfield after their failed attempts of getting Deshaun Watson the first time around. And then when the other organizations such as the Denver Broncos and the Atlanta Falcons did not want to guarantee his contract fully, the Cleveland Browns went into desperate mode, sicko mode. And they were the only organization, folks, the only organization that would guarantee Deshaun Watson's contract fully. Upfront money, all the trimmings and stuffing. They were the only organization. And now the same organization that was after a failed attempt for Deshaun Watson the first time around, they thought they wasn't going to get him. And then they were feed in with Baker Mayfield. Then when Deshaun Watson come with his tail between his legs, when he didn't get what he wanted, he went back to the Browns. And the Browns said, we'll do whatever it takes to let you be our next quarterback moving forward. They signed Deshaun Watson to a fully guaranteed contract, folks, without no insurances of how this is going to play out with him going to civil court with these accusers that are accusing him of sexual misconduct. No one has no rhyme or reason on that landscape. And being unaware that there are 24, when they signed Deshaun Watson, it was no 24 accusers. There was no stories of women on Instagram, Deshaun Watson DMing women on Instagram who has no license in the business want these Instagram models, these Instagram thoughts to come to his home, massage him, and finish it off with a happy ending. None of that was common knowledge for the Cleveland Browns when they guaranteed him all that money. And now, even though the Cleveland Browns were fully aware that there was a possibility that they wasn't going to get Deshaun Watson for the foreseeable future, which is 1 year of football, everyone believes, and I believe, that Deshaun Watson is going to be at that particular, before all of this other stuff went down. We just all assumed that he's going to miss half, if not the whole entire calendar football season. Folks, I'm telling you, this is very damaging. These latest accusations, we're going to call them accusations. If these accusations are found truthful, proven and truthful, Deshaun Watson probably is going to be gone a little bit longer than a year. And be honest with you guys, I feel like it's going to be more serious than when, and I told you, I made the example of, this is the same league that suspended Tom Brady for 4 games. I feel like it's going to be more damaging than that. If you wanted to compare it to something, I feel like it's the equivalent of Michael Vick being suspended by the league of that dogfighting ring. And it was not an easy cakewalk for Michael Vick to find another home. So many advocates were protesting those suggested teams that were probably interested in Michael Vick, but Michael Vick had to, be resubmitted back into the NFL. And there were several teams that were interested in Michael Vick that was going to kick the tires around of the possibility of getting Michael Vick. And a lot of advocates, animal rights advocates, were protesting a lot of these teams. The one and only team that stuck with Michael Vick was the Philadelphia Eagles. Folks, do anyone remember just the slight nuance of the possibility of Michael Vick playing for the Philadelphia Eagles? Do anyone remember those days, those protests? A lot of people were really upset with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles went ahead and signed Michael Vick. And they took a lot of slack because of that. That's just animal rights. And I don't want to try to judge or compare things, because I feel like animals have rights too. But nothing is more. If you look at women's rights and what women had to go through just to even get their rights, and how women are treated in society, I'm just saying there's more activists out there. There's more groups and communities out there that could put a lot of pressure on the Cleveland Browns to void the contract of Deshaun Watson. That's where we at, folks. I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to see the light of day on a football field anytime soon. And the Cleveland Browns are going to have to figure out which side of the fence they want to be on. Do they want to support Deshaun Watson? And if it comes to find out that all of this stuff is true, just the stuff that has been mentioned in the last 48 hours, we can just take that. After your owner, after the Cleveland Browns organization said, quote, the reason why they're giving up on Baker Mayfield is they want an adult at the quarterback position. When you put Deshaun Watson in those high regards, and it comes to find out that Deshaun Watson was guilty on just the information that we just got in the past 48 hours, folks, that's not a pure representative of an adult. Now, there's going to be a lot of people who's going to say, well, a lot of men are going to use this analogy. Well, it's just Deshaun Watson, boys will be boys. You know, he's a rich man. Basically, let's just cut the red tape. Deshaun Watson was wanting sexual favors, and he was going to reward these women with money. Now, that's the PR conclusion. PC, excuse me. That's the PC conclusion, politically correct conclusion. You can elaborate, being very clean and family oriented and family friendly. But in all actuality, let's call it an ace and ace, a spade a spade. Deshaun Watson was out here tricking and prostituting. Deshaun Watson is the pure definition of a male simp. Deshaun Watson is why a lot of women don't respect men. Because here we are, men still think and still believe the only way you can get in a woman's pants or under her skirt or dress is to pay for it. That's the only way. You would think an individual such as Deshaun Watson, he's extremely popular. He's an NFL quarterback. He's the rising star, one of the rising stars. You would think a name like that, he would have no problem finding some punani. But I think it's deeper than that. I really think Deshaun Watson has a little freak in him. I think Deshaun Watson likes to fool around and likes to be involved with loose women. And that's why a lot of these female masseuses had issues with Deshaun Watson because they didn't perceive themselves as a loose woman. They did not perceive themselves as a thought. And it was insulting to a lot of those women. Now, I'm pretty sure there's 24 women out there who are willing to testify against Deshaun Watson, that Deshaun Watson said this, did that, yada, yada, yada. Those are those 24 women said no to Deshaun Watson, or said no the second and third time around. I guarantee you there are 100 more women that said yes to Deshaun Watson and has no issue with what they did for Deshaun Watson. Now, here's where it gets sticky. Pardon my sense of words. But here's how it gets sticky for Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson goes to civil court and he's found liable or guilty, and he has to pay these women, or if Deshaun Watson wants to end this quickly and just tries to buy out all 24 women, well, 25, including the new one, for their secrecy, for them to stop talking about it, to make this go away, that's the beginning of the end. That's the beginning of Deshaun Watson's problem. Because of the 100 women that was cool with it, they're going to say, hey, look, If those women can get that, how come I can't get that? How come I can't hire a lawyer and get that? Because there's no contracts written of the women who was cool with it. It's just her word against yours. And then some of these women who was down with it, they're going to make a story like, well, I felt so ashamed to tell anybody, and I see how the media is treating these 24 accusers, well, 25 accusers, and I just didn't want to jeopardize my privacy, and that's how it's going to be displayed to a lot of these women. If Deshaun Watson goes to civil court or loses in civil court, Deshaun Watson has painted himself in a corner where he can't make this simply go away. He's going to have to follow through and hope that he wins in his day of court. I believe this is held in Texas. And I'm not saying, the judge, the jury, they should be impartial, okay? They should worry about the evidence that they're seeing, the interviews that the women are saying on the stand. I don't know if Deshaun Watson going to take the stand, but if Deshaun Watson takes the stand, you have the testimony, and then you judge whether or not he's innocent or guilty. But we're all human, folks, and a lot of those people who are in Texas, who are Texans, were Houston Texan fans or Dallas Cowboy fans, and they feel a certain way about Deshaun Watson. Don't think without a shadow of a doubt that's going to play a significant, and not a significant factor, but a factor in how they view Deshaun Watson and how they view this his day in this silver court proceeding. Like I said, Monday it looks bad Monday. It looks worse today. And I do apologize for not coming with just my opinion podcast live stream on Tuesday, like I promised you guys. But hey, better late than never, huh? But I was mad busy, and plus I wanted to get all this together before I commence and go in on the as the world terms of Deshaun Watson. I thought that we were done with this and we should just move on to the proceedings of civil court. And I feel like he ducked I think he has, he ducked one as far as it going to criminal court. But if anyone else knew that comes and says, yes, I was a victim of Deshaun Watson's too, and they have a different representative representing them as far as an attorney goes, that's a separate entity to what's going on now. I'm telling you, folks, this looks bad for Deshaun Watson. I'm not saying Deshaun Watson did it. I'm not saying Deshaun Watson is guilty, but I'm not sitting up here saying that these women are lying on Deshaun Watson. I feel like Deshaun Watson is being truthful. I believe these females are being truthful too. But I feel like both of these parties, Deshaun Watson and the accusers, are only being truthful, but somebody is leaving something out. And unfortunately, we won't know until they have their day in court, civil court. And in civil court, you don't really have to have a verdict on criminal court to be found liable in civil court. You don't. This looks real bad for Deshaun Watson. Well, I hope you guys were thoroughly entertained with Just My Opinion podcast. It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast. I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. Please, please, please hit the subscription button, the notification bell. Share this content with your friends, family, and followers. I will see you next week. I'm pretty sure we're going to have some more breaking news as the week prolongs. It's your boy, the host with the most. I'm up out of here. I'll see you guys on the next episode.